Hello everybody, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to permanently restore your polycarbonate headlights and turn them from this to this. Our goal today is not only to make our headlights look crystal clear again, but also to achieve optimal light output for the highest level of nighttime visibility, which does not come automatically with quote-unquote clear headlights. I'll explain this at the end of the video more. And lastly, we're going to obtain permanent results, and when I say permanent, I'm talking results that will last 10 plus years. The problem with most other videos and products is they'll demonstrate some quick way to clean or polish up your headlights and show you what they look like after 5 minutes, but they never follow up and show you what they look like after 5 years, because they're not being honest and transparent with their results. Products like UV protectant wipes, ceramic coatings, 2K clear coat, or even Meguiar's headlight coating as a standalone product will only last for a few months to a couple of years max if you're lucky. UV coatings, waxes, and ceramic sprays will have your headlights yellow again within months like this. Traditional 2K clear coats can often result in spiderweb cracking and flaking, such as in these examples. And this isn't surface level defect, this is permanent damage that can't be sanded away. This would require a new headlight at this point. Here we have some flaking from 2K clear coat as well. And here's what a single application of Meguiar's headlight coating will look like without maintenance after a couple of years, where it often results in a milky hazing effect. To achieve permanently restored headlights today, we're going to use this 3M headlight restoration kit and the SprayMax 2K 2-in-1 headlight clear coat, not the traditional 2K clear coat. And personally, I feel this is the best method to going about headlight restoration because we need to get rid of the oxidation, the old clear coat, and the scratches by using sandpaper. Then we need to polish the headlight smooth to eliminate any reflecting or refracting of the headlight for optimum performance. And then we need to apply a clear coat to give us those permanent results. Simply removing the oxidation and or buffing the headlight is not going to be enough, and it will leave you disappointed. Let me just give you a quick little demonstration here. Sorry for my cheesy little drawing, but on the top in the blue, this is going to be our clear coat layer, and on the bottom, this is going to be our polycarbonate headlight layer, and this is going to be the headlight down here. And let me just ask you a quick question. Do you think the headlight on the left, which is nicely polished, a nice smooth line here, do you think that's going to perform better, or the headlight on the right that still has all these cracks and dents and scratches in it? You guessed it, it's going to be the headlight on the left. And so let's just bring my little arrows up. There's going to be nothing to refract the light. It's going to shoot straight through. But what happens when the light hits all these various crevices? Bam! It's going to shoot it off to the left, to the right, and you just don't know what that light's going to do. And your light's not going to be able to shoot straight down the road hundreds of feet. It's going to be going all over left, right, up, and down. And although your headlight looks good in person, you just don't get the performance out of it. And that's what we're going to be achieving with this sanding and polishing and clear coat method today, is looks, performance, and longevity. So enough talk. I'm going to start by showing you how to restore your headlights. Then afterwards, I'll show you what products to use and why to use them. All product links will be in the description, as well as additional information, timestamps to better navigate through the video, as well as updates on how my headlights are doing. So let's get started. And you can see these are very faded, foggy, hazy, yellowed, dirty, gunked up. And not only is this unattractive and ugly on a car, but it can also significantly reduce your headlight output and visibility at night. And not only can you do this for headlights, but you can also do it, of course, for your fog lights as well. And although not very popular, if you really wanted to, you could also clean up your taillights, but we're not going to be doing that in today's video. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our all-purpose cleaner and we're going to clean off this headlight. And just simply wipe it down with a paper towel. And already you're going to see a bunch of that yellowing already starting to form and all that dirt. Look at that. And we're just gonna clean it up. You might need to do this 2 or even 3 times for that matter until your paper towel comes off clean. This one's already done. Let's get another one. This will save you a bunch of sanding, which would otherwise be required to remove all this yellowing and oxidation. So, better. Still want to be cleaner though. Yeah, it's getting a lot better. I think we'll do a 4th one just because we can. It's not hard. And this is just Meguiar's all-purpose cleaner. It doesn't have to be Meguiar's, can be any all-purpose cleaner for that matter. They also make specific oxidation remover, but I don't really think that's necessary because how often are you going to need an oxidation remover when, especially when this stuff works pretty much just as good for our purposes. Yeah, it's about as good as it's going to get. So we'll let this stuff dry. And then we can get onto the sanding process. Now that the headlights are clean and deoxidized, we are going to take some green 3M auto tape, painter's tape. Don't use generic interior house painter's tape. You don't want to rip off the paint off your car. This is specifically made for automotive tape, so use the good stuff. And we are going to tape off our headlight around the edges. We're going to get nice and close to all the edges here. There we go, that's taped off pretty well. And just for extra protection, because we don't want to take any chances of the sandpaper going through the tape and into our paint, we're going to add one more layer exactly like that. So after we've got our 2nd layer of tape on, we can then add protective plastic around the headlight. And then we're going to move on to sanding. I've got my P500 disc. This is the most coarse disc, and one thing I've learned when doing this is that you don't want to go too fast with the RPMs. You want to let the sandpaper do the work, and also you don't need to press that hard either. Let the sandpaper do the work. Don't let the drill and the speed do it. Let the sandpaper do it. So let's kind of go in a moderately slow RPM. And you want it to create a nice cloudy haze over the headlight. And you're going to want to keep doing this until you notice how the yellow dust that's coming off right now turns into a white dust. That's how you'll know you've gotten through all the oxidation and that you're ready to move on to the next grit sandpaper. And it wouldn't hurt partway through the sanding process to just take a paper towel and just wipe off the old dust. You can see after a bit more sanding, we are now at white dust. And if you ever notice that you're getting not any dust coming off as you're sanding, or if you even start getting little deposits on the headlight, probably means that your sanding disc is worn out and it's time for a new one. Here's a brand new sanding disc. You'll notice how much dust comes off as I'm sanding. See all that white dust that came off there? Notice any little imperfections, you can just touch them up. Of course, you're not going to get everything out. Some of these little chips and cracks are just so deep into the headlight that there's nothing you're going to be able to do to get them out. There we go. I'd say that's looking pretty good as far as our P500 disc goes. Now we're going to move on to the P800, and we're basically just going to sand it until it looks a little bit cleaner and more even, less aggressive marks on there. So let's give that a go. Look at how white that dust coming off is. That's exactly what you want to see. And again, you don't need to go too fast with your RPMs. Just let the sandpaper do the work. That looks pretty good. You can see all the scratches are now finer. If you notice any really deep ones, I think I might give this a little touch up right here one more time. Notice anything like that, and maybe give it a second pass over with your P800. Now what we're simply going to do is we're going to take a fresh P800 disc and we're going to do some hand sanding from top down and then left to right, just to really work out any potential P500 deep scratches that might be left, because if we don't get them out now, the P3000 and the buffing definitely isn't going to get them out. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 passes side to side with that P800 sandpaper to get all the swirls out, but that's essentially what you want to achieve, is no more swirls, or at least very light swirls. Are essentially gone at this point. And now we can move on to some P3000 wet sanding. So we're going to make sure we blow this all off with an air gun, get it nice and clean, get it all clear of all that large diameter dust, and we're just gonna take our spray bottle, get our sandpaper nice and wet, spray this headlight down, and now we can begin wet sanding. Same thing, I'm just gonna go nice and light, let the sandpaper do the work. Now we can just dry it off with a microfiber and we'll check our progress. So some of these finer details are going to be harder to pick up on camera, but essentially now what we want is for those horizontal P800 marks to turn into really fine P3000 marks. So we're just going to give it another pass here until it starts clearing up. And as you keep doing this, try and keep your P3000 pad clear of debris. Give that a good spray until the murky water turns clear. That's good. And let's give this another pass. That's looking pretty solid. Now what we're just gonna quickly do before we start buffing is give it a good clean with some just generic glass cleaner. Doesn't need to be anything fancy. Clean it up with the microfiber. And we'll do that for the other headlight and fog lights as well. All right, now it is time to polish. So we're gonna put our polishing pad on, take our compound, put a good couple dabs all around. That should be good. And then, because we're polishing and we need to create some heat, let's make sure we got a full battery so that way we can get maximum RPMs. And what we're going to do is we're going to dab the product on. We're going to try and evenly disperse it all throughout the headlight. That way the product can kind of absorb into the pad, absorb into the headlight a little bit. And also be evenly distributed amongst the headlight. You can almost see it's starting to go clear. And that's kind of what you want in a way. That means you know it's kind of absorbing and doing its job. All right, now we're gonna start buffing. And this time you can apply maybe a little bit of pressure, and you also wanted to use maximum RPM, set it to its highest setting, and here we go. All right. It's looking nice and clear. It's looking real good. Whoa. Yeah. And like with any other step, if you notice that there's still some microscopic swirling from the P3000 disc, you can give it another pass with your buffing, and then we can move on to the final step, which is the clear coat. And before we apply our clear coat, we're just gonna clean off any waxes and greases and stuff from the polish with some of our glass cleaner again. Now we need to prepare our headlight clear coat, and it's extremely important to follow the instructions as listed on the information sheet on their website. And they say to shake it for 2 minutes, then take this red cap, you'll put it on the bottom, you'll push it down hard until you hear a click, and then you shake it again for another 2 minutes, and then it's time to apply the clear coat. So let's shake this for 2 minutes. Now we're going to take that red cap, put it on the bottom of our spray can. I'm going to press down nice and hard until we hear it click. Ooh, it's tough. There it goes. Ooh, had to put my weight down on it. Okay, you heard it click. Let's shake it for 2 more minutes. And immediately before putting that clear coat on, I'm just going to take an alcohol wipe and I'm just going to clean off the headlight one last time. Alcohol is a very ideal product to use in paint preparation. And these little pads work perfect. And time for the moment of truth. We're going to apply a light, even coat, not a medium or heavy coat, just a light coat for our first coat across the headlight. So here we go. Yeah, that's a pretty light coat to me. We're going to let that dry for 10 minutes now. It has been 10 minutes and we're just going to shake our can up for a quick second. That should be good enough. And now we're going to apply a medium coat. And again, we're going to hold the can about 6 to 8 inches away from the headlight. So here we go. The dry times according to the data sheet for this paint is 20 minutes to be dust dry, 3 hours to be dry to the touch, and then it can be polished after drying overnight. So even though it says overnight, I personally would recommend waiting a full 48 hours even before driving the vehicle. That's just how long most paints take to dry. Even though it's dry to the touch, the surface might feel dry to the touch, but the in-depth layer adhering closest to the headlight, that can still be wet, and that's what takes the longest to drive. And if you go driving and you get some dust kicking up on your headlight, or a rock or some bugs, that could very easily create an indent on your fresh paintwork, and that's the last thing you want after all your hard work. So personally, if you can help it, I would recommend waiting a full 48 hours after painting before driving your vehicle again. And before even messing around with all this protective plastic we put around the headlight, I would wait the full 3 hours so it can be dry to the touch before even considering removing that. And again, we don't want to take any chances of damaging our paintwork. It's been about 20 minutes, so these headlights have completed the first small process in drying, that being dry to dust, or dust dry. Let's take a look. And that is super clear. And it looks so good. And if you so choose to do so, you can polish these overnight. I might recommend waiting a little longer personally. You don't have to rush this project. Here are my fog lights. These are looking pretty sweet too. Got the other side done. Oh, that looks so cool. Very good, and just goes to show I'm no painting expert by any means. Sanding, painting, finishing, or anything like that. And if these are the results I was able to get, anybody can do this. And here's the TL, fresh after its coat of paint in the garage. Still getting repaired. Almost done. More videos to come for this vehicle. These headlights haven't looked this good in at least 5 to 10 years maybe. Very amazing results. Very good product. And unlike waxes and sealants and all that, this is an actual clear coat, and this is going to last for many years to come. A couple other important notes found on the technical data sheet for this headlight clear coat. The ideal temperature for this is between 64 and 77 degrees Fahrenheit, as well as between 40 and 60% humidity. Those are the ideal painting conditions. Also, this has a pot life of only 8 hours after you push in the red button. After that, this is going to be no good. And since this only has a pot life of 8 hours, I might recommend trying to get all 3 of your vehicles done, or as many vehicles as you plan on doing, getting them all done at the same time so you don't have to buy another expensive can of this headlight clear coat. And also to give you an idea of how much clear coat is in this little can, I was able to very easily get both of my headlights, both of my fog lights, as well as both of the headlights on my TL done, and there's still plenty of paint left in there. You could probably do a solid 3 vehicles, front and back, with the amount of paint that is in here. Also, when painting, it's very important to avoid direct sunlight. You can see I cannot see the sun anywhere. It's kind of a cloudy day, as well as I've got the vehicle parked right next to the house. But do whatever you can to avoid direct sunlight. Park it in the shade, park it in your garage, park the front of the vehicle away from the direction of the sun. The direct intensity of the sunlight can affect the drying times and the overall finish. And the last important thing you should know about painting a car is you're going to want to wait at least 90 days before running your car through any car washes. So if you do want to wash your car in the meantime, make sure you hand wash it and use very delicate techniques. And also, no applying any waxes or ceramic coatings or any sealants to your freshly painted headlights and fog lights. So now we're going to purchase some products for this headlight restoration project. And before we do, I just want to emphasize that you want to make sure you're getting products that are compatible with polycarbonate headlights. A lot of automotive products are mainly made for exterior paint as well as interior plastics and upholstery and leather. And that is not the same as polycarbonate, which is its own thing. And so you want to make sure you got the right products for the right job, especially when this is going to determine the look and quality of your headlights for the next 10 or 15 years. So with that out of the way, we're going to start with some all-purpose cleaner, and we're going to need this to clean the headlights of any dirt, dust, grime, bug guts, as well as any of that yellow oxidation that occurs from the sun damage. This product works really well, actually, as you'll see in just a couple minutes. But it doesn't have to be this specific detailer. You can get any all-purpose detailing cleaner. I'm sure they'll all do just as well, but this product's pretty notorious. It's been around for a long time. It's cheap, and it also works good as a tire cleaner. That's what I also use it for. So we'll start with that. And then we're going to need some automotive masking tape. We're going to be doing a bunch of sanding, polishing, and painting, and we don't want to ruin any of the surrounding body panels or plastics as we do that. And you want to make sure you get an automotive masking tape. Don't use an interior painter's tape that's made for interior drywall paint. You could potentially rip the paint off your car if you use that stuff. Again, it's all about using the right product for the right job. Here's the part number 03433. You can get it at Walmart. It's $8. Then we're going to need the actual restoration kit itself. And this one is by 3M, and they make some of the best sanding discs in the industry. And personally, I think this is the best method about going about restoring your headlights. And this has pretty much everything you need. It comes with some gold P500 discs, then some white P800 discs, then a Trizac 3000 fine sanding disc, a polishing pad, and this drill attachment bit. All these attach to this piece via Velcro, and it holds very well. And it also comes with some of this rubbing compound. I don't recommend it, but I'll get to that in just a second. And then we're going to need some glass cleaner just for after the sanding process. We want to make sure we remove any of the sand particles and dust particles before polishing, so we're not accidentally creating any scratch marks in the process. This invisible glass is one of the most reputable brands on the market by detailers and DIYers around the world, and it's also one of the cheaper options too. Comes in two forms, this aerosol can as well as a typical spray bottle. I'll post all the links for all these products in the description, by the way. And then we're going to need some of that polish for the final step, and this is what comes with the 3M kit, but I don't recommend it because, again, going back to my original statement, you want products that are compatible with polycarbonate headlights. And as you can see in the description on the 3M website, it says safe for clear coats, lacquer, and enamel paint finishes. Not plastic, not polycarbonate, not headlights. And so for that reason, I do not recommend using this for polishing your headlights. Instead, what I would recommend is something like this. This is a Meguiar's clear plastic polish, and you can see in the little fine print it says polycarbonate surfaces right there. And so this is also a highly rated product by some detailers on YouTube. You'll see in my video that I've got a 3M lens and hard plastic cleaner. However, that product is discontinued, so this is another very good option. Doesn't have to, again, be this exact product. Just make sure that's made for plastics and polycarbonate. So yeah, not sure why they included this product because, again, we're going to be sanding away all the clear coat and all the scratches down to bare polycarbonate, and this product isn't compatible with polycarbonate. But that's not to say that this product that they included is completely useless, because at the very end, we're going to be applying an actual clear coat. And since this is compatible with clear coats, in case you're not satisfied with your final results, in case it gets a little orange peel, or if it gets a little runny or it's uneven or something, you can use this product, which is compatible, and you can polish it and make sure it looks really, really good at the very end. And then after we polish the headlights, again, we're going to go back and we're going to clean it with that invisible glass cleaner. And to be really, really sure that we've got the headlights prepped for painting, we're going to clean it with some isopropyl alcohol. Here we have some alcohol pads. These are pretty cheap and they're thick. They hold a lot of alcohol in them, and that will ensure you're getting every last little bit of dirt and dust off and allowing your headlights to be prepped for paint. And speaking of which, the final protection part, that being painting, I just want to give a little information on that. And so you don't want to use any waxes or ceramic coatings or any sealants or anything like that, because what they don't do is protect against UV radiation. And it's UV radiation that causes your clear coat on your headlights to fade, and then after the clear coat is gone and can't do its job anymore, that's what causes the yellow oxidation in the headlights. And although you'll see that a lot of these waxes and coatings offer UV protection, what they're not telling you is what type of UV radiation they're protecting from. And there's two different types of UV radiation. There's UVB radiation, which is weaker and doesn't have as much penetrating power. And then there's UVA radiation, which is a lot stronger and much deeper penetrating power. And this is what you want to protect your headlights from. There's actually a YouTuber called Dimitri's Garage, and he has tested dozens of ceramic coatings and waxes to see if any of them actually have UVA protection, and there isn't a single product on the market that does. Sure, they might offer protection from UVB, which is extremely easy to protect from, but none of them can protect from UVA. There's only two types of products on the market that can protect from UVA, and that is PPF, which we're not going to be using in this video, and then there is an actual clear coat. And so this is the only product like this on the market. It's Spray Max 2K 2-in-1 headlight clear coat. I emphasize the word headlight there. This product should allow your headlight to be protected for at least a solid 10 years, maybe even upwards of 15 or 20 if you take good care of it. Unlike previous methods where if you just polish the headlight, or even if you cover it up with some wax or sealant or something like that, you're only going to get protection for like a couple months to a couple years at best. And so it's kind of a scam in that aspect. This is what people used to use before that clear coat came out. And the unfortunate part about this is it only lasts for about a year. And so if you were to forget to keep up with the maintenance, before you know it, your headlight would start to turn yellow and oxidize again, and then you'd have to start this entire project over, and all that hard work would have been for nothing. And this product only came out just a couple of years ago, so it's a little unnoticed at the moment, starting to gain some popularity. What you don't want to use, which is a big mistake in the headlight restoration industry, is you don't want to use a traditional automotive 2K clear coat. And the reason for that is the chemicals do not adhere well, or are not compatible with the polycarbonate. What happens is it essentially melts and fuses with the headlight itself. And so instead of there being two layers, the polycarbonate headlight layer and then the clear coat layer on top of that, it becomes one new element. And since this 2K has hardener in it, what essentially happens is with all the heat cycles, when it gets hot, it expands, and cold, it contracts. It can cause what's called spiderweb cracking. And these cracks are not on the surface. These cracks are going deep and sometimes all the way through the headlight. And you're not going to be able to sand this out. and the only solution is to replace the entire headlight as a whole unit, and that would be really expensive. So whatever you do, do not buy traditional 2K clear coat. Get this product. It's the only product like it on the market that is consumer available, and it's for about 30 bucks for a can. And just a little quick note, it's only good for 8 hours. It too has a hardener in it, and you only get to use it as soon as you put this little red cap and pop the hardener in it. And there you have it, everybody. We have refinished our headlights and fog lights, and they are looking good. I'm no expert at this sort of thing, and it just goes to show if I can do it, anybody can do it. These look just as good as new. And although sanding and refinishing these headlights isn't going to get rid of every single imperfection, it certainly looks a heck of a lot better than it did before. So if you have any questions regarding this project, feel free to leave a comment. I'm pretty good at getting back to people. Also check out the description where I'm going to be posting some links as well as additional information to the parts that were used in this video. And as always, thanks for watching. Have a great day and take care.